How's it going, guys? I'm Connor from Running Warehouse, and I'm here with Clayton Young, one of the hottest marathoners in the world right now. We are in Boston at the ASICS Uplift House. We're talking super shoes, racing, and really the marathon distance. You're coming off your big 1-2 finish with your teammate Connor Mance at the marathon trials, and we got a big summer coming up. How's that fitness going? Are we gonna keep that going, keep that hot streak alive?
That's the goal, keep the ball rolling. And honestly, like, my consistency has been so good over the last couple of marathons. If I can keep that into the trials, I think we're gonna be in a good position. Right now, I'm about a week out from starting my real build. We're about 16, 17 weeks out from the marathon. And yeah, it all just goes up from here.
And fitness is important for the big marathon race coming up, but I think what's also maybe a little more important are the shoes.
Yes.
And I saw on your feet at the trials, you wore the MetaSpeed Sky Paris.
Correct.
But let's take a little bit of a rewind to 2019, me and you running in Austin, Texas, you had the MetaRacer on.
Yep.
How far have these shoes come since those days? And you know, what are those improvements looking like year after year?
Yeah, the improvements have been incredible to see as an athlete. Obviously, being with ASICS over the last 5 years, I've seen a lot of improvement. The first shoe, as you know, is like the old school MetaRacer. This is like the old prototypes that they would give us. Mine was actually all black. And I remember like starting on the start line with these and just thinking like, wow, like we've got a ways to go. They were very minimalist and thin. And can you imagine, like, this was my debut marathon. I ran 26 miles in these and it wasn't pretty. I'd only been training about 3 weeks, but man, it hurt so bad. This was actually the colorway that we ended up using, the Tokyo edition. But from there, like, we ended up building into what was now the MetaSpeed series, right? And the MetaSpeed, when I first tried on the MetaSpeed, I was like, yes, like this is it. Like we've got something good going on here. In fact, it felt so good. I ended up winning the US 15K champs. I think I was the first ASICS athlete to win a race in I guess the prototype of the MetaSpeed at that time. And that's what like these started looking like just big old hunks. Mine, I think, was actually like a blue colorway, but it was a prototype. Just thicker foam, a lot more cush than the MetaRacer series. And then from there, obviously we built into the MetaSpeed Plus. And so this is actually the MetaSpeed Plus of the Edge series. And this was what I really loved actually early on, you know, 2021, 2022 for a lot of my faster races. I started doing a lot of biomechanics testing, comparing this shoe to the previous shoe, and things were just getting lighter, faster, more responsive. Finally, we got to what I raced in at the Olympic trials after like so many prototypes, right? I have so many prototypes in my garage, it's ridiculous. But it seemed like every 2-3 weeks I would get a new prototype, and we finally landed on this shoe, which was the MetaSpeed Sky Paris. And this shoe owns my fastest time in the marathon in Chicago. As you know, I ran 2:08 flat. And then obviously at the Olympic trials, it's what carried me to the finish line to make the Olympic team. And it's lighter, about 20 grams lighter than the MetaSpeed Plus series, and obviously a little more bouncy and responsive. So yes, I've gotten more fit. Yes, I've gotten more fast, but the shoes have obviously carried me along the way, kept me healthy and got me going.
And you talk about the lab a little bit, and I know both the Sky and Edge are great shoes. I've tried them both, and it's hard to pick which one is, you know, the shoe for you on race day. Did the lab kind of guide you in one direction? Yeah,
that's a great question. I was, especially like this last build, I was going really a lot back and forth between the Edge and the Sky because now they have the same stack height. They have a 5mm drop, and they're maxing out, you know, full 40mm stack from what I know. And so it really was like, okay, which one is best? And as the listeners know, like, the Edge is more of a cadence shoe. Like, it's for those that have quick turnover, and I've always prided myself in my speed. But then the Sky, you know, has that stride where, you know, it supposedly helps you lengthen your stride. And so it was like, which one should I do? But then, yeah, we got in the lab, we took it to science with one of my old BYU professors, Dr. Ian Hunter, and we got in on his lab and pretty much tested 2 things. The first thing we tested was our VO2 uptake, so how much oxygen am I using while I'm running? And then also our peak force essentially going through the shoe. And the lower number is better. And I found that in the Sky that I was testing about 1 to 2% lower, and then my peak force was lower. And so it wasn't gonna cause as much pounding over the marathon distance. And so that's when I was like, okay, I guess I gotta go with the Sky. It didn't feel comfortable at first because I had been in the Edge and a lot in the Paris series with some prototypes, but after a run or two and some great workouts, like I never looked back. And obviously it holds my PR and it got me on that Olympic team.
Yeah. I mean, the numbers don't lie.
Yes.
Every little percentage you can get, you gotta take.
Yes.
But I'm sure even though you went with Sky, you're probably also using the Edge a little bit in your training. Is that a shoe that you kind of mix in as well?
For sure, for sure. When I want like more of a feel, especially on track workout, I like to throw in the Edge sometimes and get that turnover. And yeah, who knows? Like I think there's maybe a sweet spot where I choose the Edge for those shorter distances and the Sky for the longer distances. But it's been fun to have options. Because I'm a nerd and a geek and I just love shoes, and so it's been fun to embrace that.
Well, I mean, it's been so exciting because right now super shoes are so important, and any little edge you can get on race day, you gotta take. My final question for you is, have we sealed the deal? Do we know the shoe that you'll be wearing this summer?
Yes, the shoe that I'll be wearing, MetaSpeed Sky Paris, but we have the new Olympic colorway, which I'm super excited about. Because it's just gonna really pop out there in the field. And yeah, it's a great look, and that's what it'll be.
Perfect. Well, we will all be looking out for this shoe on your feet, hopefully crossing the line, and maybe we'll see a medal.
We'll see.
You never know.
You never know.
If you're looking to run like Clayton, run like the best, you gotta pick up a pair of MetaSpeed Sky Paris or MetaSpeed Edge Paris. They'll be available here at Running Warehouse.